Well, thank you for doing this today.
No, my pleasure. Thank you.
I really enjoyed this series. It was not what I expected at all, so that's always a big plus.
Oh, I'm glad. That's the best you can hope for to hear.
When you hear the premise, you're like, okay, I know what I'm getting into, and then it branches off and takes you inside these characters' heads and all these almost like kind of a mix of genres at times, which is really exciting. So not only do you star in the series, you also produced it. Where did your involvement begin, and like what did you want to bring to this project?
Well, Jean-Marc Vallée brought it to me with his producing partner, Nathan Ross. And obviously, they're such extraordinary producers. I was so excited at the prospect of working with them. And then they kind of match made between Alma Harrell and I. And that was just one of the great introductions of my life. So I completely fell in love with her. And it was so meaningful as a creative collaboration to get to work with her. So, and then just to tell this story of a woman trying to find her freedom in the 60s with this parallel life of another woman also trying to find her freedom, but she's blind to this other woman leading a parallel life to hers, was very compelling to me, I think, as someone facing my own search for freedom and also thinking about my grandmother at the same time, also being in her 40s, kind of confronting similar issues.
Yeah, it's amazing when you put it in that perspective, like that, that this isn't the challenges we're facing today, and a lot of what you see in this series, you think, well, we're doing a little better at times, but a lot of it, when you look back, hasn't changed. Maybe it was worse, and maybe some things are actually heading in even worse direction in general. And you think, wait, I don't see my grandmother in that light, or my parents like fighting the fight, and then you realize, oh wait, that was World War II, and all these different major changes in the world, and political and social landscapes. So I really appreciate that kind of bringing that other generation into it and seeing it that way.
Yeah, I feel like we learn so much about ourselves, thinking about what previous generations have gone through, and of course, what resonance that has with us today. And so many of these issues are cyclical and kind of repeat themselves. So it's very meaningful to kind of revisit those past eras.
So when you do prepare for a period piece like this, and you're starting to prep to just to kind of explore your character and the world around her, what kind of research do you do?
I did a lot of research on newsrooms and what it was like for a woman in the newsroom at that time. I spoke to some journalists who were in newsrooms at the time, female journalists. Also, of course, there's so much documentary footage from that time and from that time in Baltimore. There was so much research on what Baltimore was like at the time, how it was this sort of like mecca for culture and jazz musicians and music and nightlife, and there was what the Jewish community was like during that time. So there was really a lot to dig into for sure.
Is there one thing that kind of really helped you to kind of develop this character?
Well, I think understanding how lonely it was to be a woman in the newsroom at the time. I think understanding where Jews were in America at that time, that they were not yet considered white, and that there was kind of this period of wanting to be as American as possible and as white as possible, but not being treated like that. And then what that means, of course, of like being a minority group that that tries to join the kind of majority concept of whiteness that's obviously an invented construct.
And Maddie's a mother, a wife, a lover, a fighter for justice, a journalist. Is there one aspect of her that that you connected with most?
Well, I think that it was exciting for me that she was all of those things, because I think most women do have these many different aspects of themselves, that they do have these different roles they play and different personas they have in different environments, that, it's very different with a lover than with your child, or at work versus when you're at a cafe. The ways you're treated and the ways you feel as a woman are different. And so it was incredible to have the opportunity to have all of these different avenues of her personality expressed.
Did it change your view of journalism at all, or help it evolve?
Well, I certainly understood a lot of unethical journalism from what Maddie does. She certainly doesn't play by any sort of journalistic principles.
And in a story with so many different, like, darker elements, do you find something? Is there something lighter in it that you find yourself, like, kind of attaching to kind of help you kind of push through as you're surrounded in this pretty dark world?
Well, I think that Alma always finds an ability to have humor in the scenes. Like, she says that her style is like 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot on a banana peel. And I love that energy of, like, always trying to find something ridiculous, because humans are ridiculous. The darkest moments can be funny, and trying to find that all the time. And the creative energy was always very joyful and light, because we just loved inventing together. And I also think that the visuals were so sumptuous, that the costume design by Shiona Turini, and the production design, everything was so gorgeous. The cinematography, that I think everything, always, there was a lightness and just the beauty we were constantly surrounded by.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up because it very stunning. Uh, from the costumes, the hair, the production designer really takes you back into that time period. How much does that help you as an actress to transform into your character and to get into this role? Like, if that wasn't there, is it much more difficult task for you?
Oh, it's incredible to have all of that beautiful artistic work done by, your cinematographer, production designer, costume designer, that they really create such an environment. And of course, it makes it much easier to enter a world when you can see everything around you. It's much different than, reacting to a blue screen or something.
Did you have an outfit or a hairstyle that stood out as, your favorite one that you would like to carry on in today's life?
Yeah, the yellow suit that Shiona chose for me was just such a striking color, and I loved that as a character, expression, of someone who really is trying hard to stand out, and is wearing her individuality on her sleeve, and her boldness, her ambition is all in it. And of course, it goes through so many transformations in the series, when, it's kind of implicated in the death of the child, and it carries so much symbolism with the, abortion, and all of that, there's really this incredible, meaning to that suit.
And what was it like working with Moses when you have a character who you're so connected to? I love the poster, by the way. Like, after you
Oh,
watch it, it really, like, oh, I'm like, my God, that what a piece of art that is. Um,
I'm so glad.
because it really helps you. It really envisions or brings to life, these two uh, lives that are crossed together, but still you don't even see each other. You don't even know each other. What was
Yeah,
it like working with her to create that?
it was extraordinary getting to work with Moses. She's just really one of the most talented actresses I've ever gotten to see work up close. And um, it was very poignant, obviously, that my character is kind of obsessed with her throughout the story, but never really knows her. And that's obviously part of what it's about, is not really putting the effort into knowing someone who might be going through similar challenges and under different circumstances, of course, but in your same city, crossing paths with you on a daily basis. And that you need to have that curiosity and empathy to really reach out to them. So we had very few scenes together, unfortunately, but the ones we did were extraordinary. And she's just so prepared and smart with her choices, and just so talented. It was incredible to watch.
So for most of the film or the series, I'm sorry, you were not on screen. Well, maybe share some screen, but you actually had moments together. Did they shoot those moments together toward the end to kind of build a long, that brand new relationship?
So I filmed most of my stuff alone first, and then the end of my shoot was the crossover with Moses's scenes. So it was the end of my shoot, but it was the beginning of her shoot. So she did the crossover scenes, and then she shot all of her stuff that was without me after. So that was the way it was organized.
How did they handle that big kind of ballroom scene with the multiple versions of her character?
You mean the library with the, yeah, that was incredible. That was an amazing day. We filmed that with, an incredible group of dancers who, did this incredible dream sequence, and stunt performers who, of course, also did those that breathtaking leap from the balcony. And then, of course, Moses, who was so moving and able to inhabit, someone else's subconscious, which was really wild to get to watch.
And this series is so ambitious. It goes like I said, so far beyond just the mystery that I expected, with some of the things you mentioned and so much more. But over your career, you've taken on so many roles and so many genres. At this point, is there anything that you say is like truly a challenge for you, Natalie Portman, as an actress, that you say, okay, I'm kind of nervous stepping into this?
I still get nervous about everything. I still get yeah, I'm always nervous. I think it propels me, I guess, to work harder and try more things. And every character just feels like a new mountain to climb. So I never feel like, oh, I've done it already. I know what I'm doing. I wish I did.
And with this one, it throws us so much at you. I'm like, it must be every day on set must have been a different experience.
This was a
You have
marathon.
oh, go ahead, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. No, no, no. It was absolutely a completely different, extremely challenging um, experience. It was like every day was an incredibly dramatic scene, incredibly physical, lots of dialogue. It was really, really, really intense, but always really, um, just really fulfilling creatively. Alma is such an extraordinary leader. She's just, I mean, the fact that she wrote and directed every single episode. She wrote obviously with the team, but she really led that. And um, she was just so on top of everything and had such a specific vision, and was able to lead us all with such clarity and brilliance. And it was amazing to get to be part of her team.
Was there one scene that you really enjoyed shooting or enjoyed the challenge of shooting the most?
I loved, she let us improvise a lot. So, the scenes with my family were really fun, with my husband, played by Brett Gelman, or with, my son, played by Noah Jupe. Those were really fun to get to kind of explore, because she would just let the cameras keep rolling, and we could keep, sparring with each other. And they're all both very kind of contentious relationships. So, we had fun, just keeping going in character.
It felt natural. I like, you know, it
Yeah, we
explains
were
a lot.
like, we're doing a series, but we feel like we're doing a Cassavetes film, it just felt really pure acting.
And is there something with so many different things to take away from this series? Is there something that you hope connects most with the audience?
I think really these women really fighting for their own narrative, to be the ones telling their own story. And I think that that's something that all women can relate to.
I love that. And speaking of women, I'm a dad of two girls, and now young ladies, and they are athletes. So your
Cool.
launching of a soccer team of Angel City is a
Um,
wonderful thing,
thanks.
and
Thank you.
I love to see the growing of women's sports and the respect it's starting to earn instead of just being a secondary. It's now like lead story type material, which is fantastic. So
Thank God, it's about time.
yes, yes, it is. Does your being a parent influence how you pick your roles and your projects and the challenges you take on?
Oh, definitely. I think it really, I always want it to be a creatively fulfilling experience. Like, I won't just work to work, which I did before I had kids, because I want it to be meaningful and I want to go back to my kids like enriched from what I do at work. Um, I also think a lot more, of course, about what I'm putting into the world, and what kind of culture I want to be part of, creating for my kids. And um, yeah, it's definitely more. I think about it a lot more.
I love that. And I was a fan of yours. I had been a fan of yours since pretty much day one. I saw
Thank
the professional opening weekend. I used to work in the movie
Wow,
theater back then,
wow.
and have been a fan since. Going back to that film, there were rumors that there was going to be a sequel where your character would be the assassin, possibly hunting down Leon. Was that ever in the works?
There was definitely a script kind of floating around, but it didn't get really farther than that,
Uh,
unfortunately.
if it was the one presented today and you were a big fan of it, would you do it? Would you do that today?
I never say no to anything. Off the bat, I would have to obviously see the kind of details around it.
Yeah, well, I would gladly see that. So
Yeah, it's
we,
always a lot of pressure when I think there's something that you make that a lot of people, it's meaningful for them, that
mhm.
want to kind of respect that original experience and only revisit it if there's a compelling reason to.
In a similar vein, are there any films or characters that you would like to revisit or someday or take another stab at or continue?
Hmm. I don't know, maybe Vox Lux. I would be interested in seeing where she is now.
Did you did sing on that, right?
Yes, and
Yeah. Did you
it was
enjoy that
very
aspect of it?
it was a very fun character to play.
Yeah, it looks like fun on screen. I just can't imagine having to use my voice and in front of an audience every day. And so bravo to you.
Thank you.
Congrats. Um, and you're once a new kid in the block. Now you're the honored acting vet. Any advice for people trying to follow in your footsteps?
Um, just to keep curious and um, work hard and be kind.
I like it. All right, I'll close out with an easy one. 3 words to describe Matt Schwartz.
Ambitious, uncompromising, and free.
I like it. Similar to what I would have chosen, but better. So well done. Well, thank you for your time today. Thank you
It's
for your
fun.
career of work. I've been a fan watching what you're going to do next. We'll find out. But this was a really pleasant surprise, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next.
Thank you so much. Hope you have a
Thank
great
you.
rest of your week.
You too. Have a great day.
Bye.